Hi everyone. Today, we're going on a journey into the depths of the human soul. We'll explore one of the greatest works in the history of literature, the Divine Comedy by the Italian poet Dante Alighieri, written back in 1321. This poem is considered the highest point of Dante's work and one of the foundations of world literature. Dante was born in Florence in 1265. He wasn't just a poet. He was a thinker, and his name is closely tied to the Renaissance, a time when people started to rethink who they are and what their place is in the universe. The Divine Comedy tells the story of Dante himself traveling through the afterlife, through hell, purgatory, and paradise. Each part is filled with deep ideas about life, faith, and morality. The first part of the journey, Inferno, or hell, describes 9 circles. As you go deeper, the sins get worse, and the punishments more brutal. This idea came from Christian beliefs and ancient philosophy. Dante combined them into a powerful and symbolic picture of the afterlife. He was inspired by many sources: Aristotle, Thomas Aquinas, the Bible, and other religious texts. But the most important thing is this: Dante's hell is not just about the next world. It's a reflection of our inner struggles, the fears, pain, and temptations we all face. At the gates of hell, there's a famous inscription: "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here." And with that, we follow Dante and his guide, the Roman poet Virgil, on a powerful, emotional journey through the darkest parts of the soul and beyond. The first circle of hell, known as Limbo, is a unique place in the strict hierarchy of the afterlife described by Dante Alighieri. What sets Limbo apart is its relative gentleness compared to the deeper circles of hell, almost like a place of quiet sorrow rather than torment. One of the souls said to linger just outside hell's entrance is Pope Celestine V, who resigned in 1294. Dante refers to him as the one who, in cowardice, made the great refusal. Limbo lies on the very edge of hell. It's a shadowy forest, but there's no physical suffering here. The souls that wander in Limbo didn't commit great sins, but they also didn't do anything truly virtuous. Among them are angels who stayed neutral during Lucifer's rebellion. They chose neither God nor Satan and now belong to no one. These souls suffer a quiet sorrow. They are rejected by both heaven and purgatory, left without a place in the afterlife. Limbo is also where the righteous of the Old Testament once dwelled, until Christ came to bring them into paradise. Here you'll find the souls of unbaptized infants, as well as virtuous non-Christians who lived before the coming of Christ. Among them are great poets, thinkers, and scientists of the ancient world: Homer, Ovid, Aristotle, Plato. Though they made huge contributions to human knowledge, they were excluded from salvation simply because they lacked Christian faith or baptism, which were seen as essential in medieval theology. Interestingly, even Julius Caesar is said to reside in Limbo. The guardian of this circle is Charon, the mythical Greek ferryman of the dead. In the Divine Comedy, Charon guides the souls across the river Acheron, the threshold to hell. Once they cross the river, they enter Limbo. The key feature of Limbo is that there's no physical punishment. The only suffering here is the eternal sadness of never being able to see God. That quiet longing, that's their fate. Limbo reflects a medieval idea of mercy, a space for souls who did nothing evil, yet lacked the faith required for salvation. But our journey doesn't end here. We now descend into the second circle of hell, and this is where the true torments begin. This circle is for those who gave in to lust and passion. These are the souls who, in life, were driven by desire, letting their emotions rule their choices. Unlike Limbo's calm, the second circle is full of chaos. The air is dark, and the damned are swept up in an endless storm, thrown around by powerful winds, with no rest. This furious storm reflects the wild, uncontrolled nature of their earthly desires. The guardian here is Minos, once a king of Crete, now transformed into a demonic judge. As each soul arrives, he listens to their sins and wraps his long tail around himself. The number of coils tells the soul how deep into hell it must go. This is how he assigns each soul to its rightful place, based on the weight of its sins. In the second circle of hell, Dante meets the souls of those whose sins were driven by love and lust. Among them are both historical and mythological figures, like Francesca da Rimini and Paolo Malatesta, tragic lovers whose heartbreaking story became famous for its sorrowful end. Also found here are Cleopatra, Helen of Troy, Achilles, Paris, Semiramis, and others, all punished for their uncontrolled passions. Their souls are endlessly swept up in a violent storm, spinning in a whirlwind of desire, then hurled against the black rocks of the underworld. This is their eternal punishment, a reflection of the emotional chaos their passions once caused on Earth. But before we continue our journey, I invite you to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps support the project. Now let's descend even deeper into the third circle of hell. This is the place reserved for the sin of gluttony. Here, those who gave in to overindulgence, greed, and excess are punished forever. The guardian of this circle is Cerberus, a monstrous three-headed dog with human hands instead of paws. Inspired by Greek mythology, where he guarded the gates of the underworld, Cerberus in Dante's vision represents the uncontrollable hunger for pleasure, the same hunger that consumed these souls in life. His greasy beard is stained with black filth, and his mouth stares into the condemned with terrifying force. He is a frightening symbol of the punishment waiting in this cold and miserable place. The third circle itself is a swampy, dark wasteland where it rains endlessly. But not just rain. Icy water, hail, snow, and even filthy, rotting sludge fall from the sky. This endless downpour creates a disgusting, putrid mud where the damned lie, moaning in their suffering. They squirm in the filth, trying to shield their faces and backs from the storm. In this decay, they have lost all human form, blind, shapeless, buried in the mud and rain. And all the while, Cerberus stands over them, barking non-stop, his roar so awful that the souls wish they could go deaf just to escape the sound. This punishment is a brutal reminder. Giving in to endless consumption, to cravings and gluttony, leads not to joy, but to humiliation. It strips away dignity and turns the soul into a slave of its own desires. One level deeper in Dante's funnel-shaped hell lies the fourth circle, the place of eternal punishment for those who committed the sins of greed and wastefulness. According to Dante, this is where the misers and the spendthrifts are condemned. At first glance, these might seem like opposite extremes, hoarding versus reckless spending, but both, he suggests, are equally destructive to the soul. Both are driven by an unhealthy attachment to material things. The guardian of this circle is Plutus, the ancient Roman god of wealth. In Dante's vision, he has been turned into a demonic creature, appointed to oversee those who misuse their possessions. Plutus greets the damned with rasping, menacing threats. He represents not only greed itself, but also the fear and power that money holds over the human spirit. The circle itself is a wide plain, where two large groups of souls are locked in an eternal struggle. The hoarders, those who clung to every coin, and the wasters, those who squandered their fortunes, push massive weights toward each other. These weights symbolize the burden of their earthly sins. The groups clash in the middle of the plain, shouting accusations at each other, and then roll their weights back to begin again, a pointless, endless cycle. Their faces are disfigured beyond recognition, twisted by their obsession with wealth. This constant back and forth struggle is a powerful image of the futility of a life spent chasing or clinging to material things. Whether through hoarding or indulgence, both paths lead to emptiness. Dante makes it clear, neither extreme brings true happiness or peace to the soul. Now we descend further, into the fifth circle of hell, the place where souls are punished for the sins of wrath and despair. This circle takes the form of a dark, stormy marsh, the river Styx. Its churning waters represent the violent, destructive emotions that consume these souls during their lifetimes. It's a landscape made of rage. At the center of it all is Phlegyas, the son of the god Ares, and a symbol of uncontrolled anger. In Dante's version, he has become a demon, condemned to ferry souls across the swamp to even deeper circles of hell. His boat, gliding through the blood-colored water, represents the passage from one state of sin to another, always descending, always darker. In the fifth circle of hell, the souls of the wrathful are trapped in eternal combat. They fight endlessly in the muddy waters of the river Styx, screaming, clawing, and attacking one another in a chaotic frenzy. But no matter how hard they try to hurt each other, they only increase their own pain and suffering. Beneath the surface of the swamp, buried in silence and sorrow, lie the souls of the sullen and apathetic. Those who in life suppressed their anger so deeply that it turned into despair, indifference, and inaction. These souls are so deeply submerged in the muck that they're barely visible. Only the bubbles rising to the surface, the last traces of their size, reveal their presence. This haunting image shows the total loss of vitality, the waste of energy that comes from both uncontrolled rage and silent despair. Both are extremes, and both, in Dante's eyes, lead to the ruin of the soul. One particularly personal moment for Dante happens here. In this circle, he places his real-life enemy, Filippo Argeni, a wealthy and powerful Florentine knight and politician. As Dante passes through the Styx, Argeni rises from the water and confronts him. But instead of pity, Dante responds harshly. Cry, howl in the filth forever, cursed soul, drink the eternal slime. Immediately, Argeni is torn apart by the other damned, devoured by the very madness he once embodied. In this moment, Dante comes face to face with the futility of anger, and also with the realization that despair is just as dangerous. Both lead to spiritual emptiness and disconnection from life. Now, we descend even deeper into the sixth circle of hell. This circle is reserved for heretics, those who spread false teachings and turned away from the true faith. Here, Dante presents a terrifying scene, a burning cemetery, a fiery necropolis, where the damned are locked inside red-hot tombs, condemned to burn for all eternity. The sixth circle is located within the walls of the infernal city of Dis, a dark and fortified realm that marks the beginning of even more terrifying punishments to come. From the sixth circle, the path opens into lower hell, where more serious sins are punished. This level represents a deeper break between man and divine truth, showing the consequences of losing faith and spreading ideas that contradict the teachings of the Church. The impenetrable walls of the city of Dis become a symbol of the unbridgeable gap between heretics and the heavenly kingdom. This part of hell is guarded by fallen angels, the allies of Lucifer who rebelled against God. Their presence emphasizes the gravity of their sin, their betrayal and rebellion against divine order. Above the walls fly the Furies, symbols of revenge and hatred, reinforcing the atmosphere of doom and despair that reigns here. The souls of heretics, including well-known philosophers and leaders who spread heresies, burn in flaming tombs. Among them, Dante places even the powerful Holy Roman Emperor Frederick II. These burning graves are open on top, but the walls are red-hot and filled with endless fire. This is their punishment, to lie in eternal flame, cut off from the warmth and light of the divine. Dante doesn't just punish heresy. He warns against the consequences of rejecting spiritual truth. Through the images of flames, fiery tombs, and demonic guardians, he shows that abandoning faith leads to the most terrifying fate of all, eternal separation from God. After passing the burning walls of the city, Dante descends further into the seventh circle of hell. This circle is reserved for those who committed acts of violence. The descent passes over rocky cliffs, giving us a view of the city of Dis. It is guarded by the Minotaur, the beast with a bull's head and a human body. The seventh circle is divided into 3 rings, each punishing a specific form of violence. Violence against others, violence against oneself, violence against God, nature, or art. In the first ring, a river of boiling blood, the Phlegethon, flows. Here, the souls of tyrants, murderers, and bandits are condemned to boil for eternity in the same blood they spilled during life. Patrolling the banks are centaurs, Nessus, Chiron, and Pholus, who shoot arrows at any soul that tries to rise too far from the river. Interestingly, Alexander the Great is placed here, according to Dante. The second ring, known poetically as the Forest of the Suicides, is home to souls who took their own lives. These souls have been transformed into tortured trees and shrubs, symbolizing their rejection of the human form given by God. Harpies, mythical bird women, tear at their leaves and branches, causing bloody wounds. Their cries echo through the forest. These souls are condemned to eternal suffering for rejecting life itself. But it's not only suicides who dwell here. Also punished in this ring are gamblers and reckless spenders, trapped in their human forms. They are relentlessly chased and torn apart by packs of black dogs, symbolizing the uncontrollable forces they surrendered to in life. Next, we travel to the third ring, known as the Burning Sands, reserved for those who committed violence against God. This includes blasphemers, sodomites, and usurers. These souls suffer in a scorching desert beneath a constant rain of fire, a divine punishment for their arrogance and contempt for creation. The blasphemers lie flat on the burning sand, staring up at the sky they once cursed. Sodomites wander endlessly under the falling flames, while usurers sit hunched under the weight of their sins. From the forest of the suicides, the river Phlegethon flows as a stream of blood, cuts through the burning desert, and plunges over a cliff into the depths below, leading us into the eighth circle of hell. The eighth circle, known as Malbolge or evil ditches, punishes those who committed sins of deception. It is a stone ledge surrounding a deep pit, divided into 10 concentric trenches or balgias. Each trench punishes a specific form of fraud or deceit. The guardian of this circle is Gerion, a mythical creature with the face of an honest man and the body of a serpent, a perfect symbol of deception. Gerion carries Dante and Virgil from the 7th to the 8th circle, showing how easily fraud can lead to a deeper fall. The first trench is for panders and seducers, those who used lies to manipulate others into lust. They are forced to march in two opposite lines while demons whip them. Among them is Jason, who deceived Hypsipyle and abandoned her after she bore his children. The second trench is for flatterers, liars who used sweet words for personal gain. Their souls are submerged in a stream of filthy excrement, symbolizing the foulness of their lies. In the third trench are simoniacs, those who bought or sold church positions. They are stuffed head first into stone holes, with only their burning feet visible. This inverted image mocks their abuse of sacred office. Among them is Pope Nicholas III, whom Dante directly accuses of simony. The fourth trench holds sorcerers, astrologers, and false prophets, those who tried to see the future through deceit. Their heads are twisted backward, forced to look only behind them, symbolizing their distorted understanding of reality. Tiresias, the blind Greek prophet, is found here. The fifth trench is for corrupt politicians and bribe takers. They are submerged in boiling pitch, guarded by demons with hooks who make sure they do not rise from the black tar, a metaphor for their sticky, dark dealings. In the sixth trench, we find the hypocrites. They wear gilded cloaks lined with heavy lead, beautiful on the outside, but crushing within. Among them lies Caiaphas, the high priest who played a role in the crucifixion of Christ, nailed to the ground, trampled by all who pass. In the seventh trench are the thieves. They are constantly bitten and strangled by snakes. When bitten, their bodies turn to ash and then painfully reform. Some are fused with snake-like monsters, endlessly transforming in grotesque agony. The eighth trench holds the false counselors, those who used lies and manipulation to guide others astray. They are wrapped in tongues of fire, forever burned by the very words that once deceived. The ninth trench is for sowers of discord, those who cause divisions in religion, politics, or families. Their bodies are slashed open by a dark demon with a sword. As they circle the trench, their wounds slowly heal, only to be torn open again. Dante places Muhammad here, portraying him as one who caused religious division. His body is split open, symbolizing the split he brought into the world. In the 10th and final trench dwell the falsifiers, those who forged documents, identities, or substances. Their punishment is especially cruel. Those who impersonated others suffer itching skin, tearing at themselves in agony. Counterfeiters swell with disease. Liars suffer fever, delirium, and migraines. This trench represents the total breakdown of trust, the destruction of all social and moral bonds. With astonishing detail, Dante shows that fraud not only corrupts the soul but damages society as a whole. Each trench carries a clear moral message that truth and honesty are essential to human life, and those who abandon them bring suffering on themselves and others. And now, we reach the lowest point of hell. The ninth circle, according to Dante, is the final and deepest part. reserved for the souls of traitors, which he considers the most severe of all sins. Descending into a frozen well, Dante encounters the giants who rebelled against heaven, now chained in the darkness for their defiance. The circle is represented as a frozen lake called Cocytus. Here, the damned are trapped in ice, unable to move or speak, completely isolated from divine warmth and love. Cocytus is divided into 4 rings, each named after a notorious traitor from history or scripture. 1. Kaina, named after Cain who killed his brother Abel, for those who betrayed their family. Their necks and heads are frozen above the ice, exposed to eternal cold. 2. Antenora, named after the Trojan who betrayed his city, for traitors to homeland and allies. These souls are buried deeper, with even less freedom. 3. Ptolomia, for those who betrayed guests and friends. Their faces point upward, their tears freeze over their eyes, blinding them, cutting them off from forgiveness. 4. Judecca, named after Judas Iscariot, who betrayed Jesus. This is the most terrifying place in all of hell. Here, in the center of Cocytus, stands Lucifer, the fallen angel, the embodiment of evil. Dante describes him with 3 faces and 6 wings, trapped waist deep in the ice, eternally weeping. His tears freeze the lake around him. Lucifer chews on 3 traitors, Brutus and Cassius, who killed Julius Caesar, and Judas Iscariot, who betrayed Christ. And so, Dante's journey through hell comes to an end. But the Divine Comedy is more than just a story of suffering and punishment. It is a deep, moral, and philosophical work, exploring the nature of sin, justice, and redemption. Through vivid images of hell, Dante reveals the complexity of the human soul, the constant battle between good and evil, and the importance of our choices. And that brings us to the end of this episode. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel to support the project.